A frozen signal was buried in Antarctica for over 50 years, until someone answered it. First came the dreams, then came the deaths, and when they finally opened the object, what they found inside was never supposed to be touched. But the real question isn't where it came from, it's why it called Earth in the first place. Was it a rescue? A trap? Or something far more terrifying? Stay with this, because the truth isn't just out there, it's waking up. In 1947, deep in the arid landscapes of New Mexico, a radio operator picks up an eerie transmission that immediately unsettles his dog, causing it to bark wildly. Perplexed, he links additional equipment to analyze the mysterious frequency, but remains unable to decode it. Seeking answers, he contacts a neighboring station, which pinpoints the source of the signal, Roswell. Determined to investigate, he grabs his radio and canine companion before setting off. As he drives, an unusual glow pierces the horizon, accompanied by smoke rising in the distance. Suddenly, his vehicle's engine sputters and dies. His dog leaps from the truck, barking furiously. He chases after it, reaching a smoldering site where something unidentifiable lies at its core. A high-pitched noise fills the air, forcing him to look upward, just as an impossibly bright light engulfs him. Fast forward to 2003, in the icy expanse of Antarctica, where a team of researchers uncovers an anomaly 5 meters beneath the ice using ground-penetrating scanners. Baffled by its presence, they ship it to a NASA research outpost for further analysis. Meanwhile, in California, cryptologist Julian struggles to conduct his lecture as a flirtatious student persistently vies for his attention. When she sends him a suggestive email, he dismissively shuts his laptop. After class, Julian meets Dr. Bachman, who presents him with a satellite image of the Antarctic find. Initially mistaken for a massive, fossilized marine creature, closer inspection reveals it emits an enigmatic radio signal. The audio has been captured on a CD, which Bachman hands to Julian for study. Hours later, Julian is engrossed in deciphering the cryptic patterns. The signal is far from random. It follows structured linguistic sequences and pulsating rhythms. His specialized software reveals an astonishingly powerful frequency, unlike anything naturally occurring on Earth. With mounting evidence, he convinces Bachman to secure him a position on the investigation team. Elsewhere, in a research facility on the Falkland Islands, scientists intercept the same peculiar transmission. Unable to interpret it, they forward it to an observatory in Arizona, where experts note its sudden amplification. They escalate the matter to NASA. Days later, Julian finds himself aboard a turbulent flight bound for Antarctica. A relentless storm batters the aircraft, making the descent treacherous. The pilots struggle against the elements, relying solely on the illuminated research base to guide their landing. The plane skids upon touchdown but finally halts without catastrophe. Upon entering the facility, Julian is greeted by Nyla, who leads him to Dr. Jirek, the mission's lead scientist. They escort him to the excavation site, where the anomaly remains encased in ice. Rather than hastening the process, they allow natural thawing to proceed, but they have noticed an unnatural acceleration in the melting rate. Both Julian and Jirek suspect the object may be extraterrestrial in origin. As Julian examines it, he impulsively touches the icy exterior, triggering an electric surge that courses through his arm. In an instant, fragmented visions flood his mind. Events from recent days, unearthly landscapes, and cryptic symbols. He withdraws his hand, his skin reddened where it made contact. Before he can process what happened, he is approached by Dr. Kate, an ex-girlfriend now leading part of the project. She cautions him to remain professional, as this endeavor is of utmost importance. That night, Julian experiences an unsettling dream of a luminous entity trapped within the ice. He awakens abruptly to strange noises echoing through the corridors. Emerging from his quarters, he notices water pooling along the floor and a shadow moving in the distance. As he follows the trail, an unseen force engulfs him in another wave of overwhelming visions. Cosmic images, the 1947 incident, and forms of life not of this world. Then he wakes again. Was it all just a dream? The next morning, Nyla introduces Julian to an experiment involving genetically engineered crops, enabling corn to thrive in Antarctica's frigid climate. The greenhouse, artificially heated, allows the team to work in minimal attire. Observing Kate's friendly rapport with Straub, Julian can't help but feel a pang of jealousy. Meanwhile, government officials scrutinize Julian's history, along with that of Garrix and Bachman. They uncover a scandalous affair from Julian's past, one that forced him to briefly abandon academia in favor of NASA. The student involved? None other than Kate. More alarmingly, classified documents reveal that the frequency detected in Antarctica is identical to the transmission received in 1947. At the base, Julian immerses himself in analyzing the signal, but struggles to make significant breakthroughs. Communications Officer Grisham, who first detected the transmission, joins him in the research. During lunch, Julian meets the rest of the crew, only for Straub to mock his theories about extraterrestrial intelligence. Before long, an unexpected problem arises. Communication systems go dark, an occurrence not unusual during storms. As Julian inspects the anomaly, he is astounded by the ice's rapid retreat, exposing more of the mysterious object. Nyla claims to sense an unusual vibration in her bones, but is stopped by Julian before she can touch the ice herself. His analysis indicates that the signal has evolved, now comprised of multiple layered frequencies, suggesting an active transmission rather than a static one. The following morning, a powerful tremor shakes the facility, causing the object to dislodge from its position. Rushing to investigate, the team finally glimpses its true form, an impossibly smooth, obsidian-like construct. Kate's curiosity gets the better of her, and the moment she touches it, an electric shock knocks her backward. They theorize that the structure is volcanic in nature, likely the remains of a meteorite. However, Julian notices something alarming. The signal's pattern mirrors that of a distress beacon. In a frenzy, he rushes to his computer and refines his calculations. His conclusion is staggering. This object didn't arrive by chance. It crashed here, and it has been desperately calling for rescue. The team's suspicions deepen when a faint indentation is discovered on the object's surface. A debate ensues about whether to open it. Kate expresses concerns over potential biohazards, but Straub argues that their controlled lab environments mitigate any risks. Ultimately, they decide to proceed with the operation in the morning. Meanwhile, in Washington, Bachmann is summoned to the White House. Authorities deliver grim news regarding the artifact. Unable to contact the base due to worsening weather conditions, the government has covertly partnered with the Russian Navy. A nuclear-armed submarine is en route, prepared to neutralize the unknown entity by force. At dawn, the scientists attempt controlled interaction with the object. By channeling an electrical current into it, they manage to stabilize the energy surges, rendering it safe to touch. They begin cutting into the material, revealing an inner layer of exotic carbon alloy. Julian's computer alerts him to a sudden shift in the transmission. The message is no longer fragmented. It has transformed into a clear statement. As he deciphers it, his blood runs cold. Panic-stricken, he and Nyla race toward the maintenance bay, but they are too late. A blinding glow erupts from the object, sending shockwaves through the room. The technician operating the saw lets out a horrified scream as his body begins to liquefy. Chaos ensues. A chain reaction of energy pulses through the base, injuring personnel and destroying equipment. The power grid collapses, leaving only emergency systems operational. Armed with flashlights, the remaining crew hurries to the maintenance bay to check on their injured colleagues. Miraculously, everyone has survived, except for the saw operator, whose body has been completely incinerated. As they gather around the gaping hole left by the saw, they are met with an unsettling discovery. Beneath the strange metallic surface lies an organic interior, its appearance unlike anything known to science. Curious yet cautious, pilot Tony prods the strange membrane with the end of a broomstick. Instantly, the material reacts, burning away to reveal something far more chilling, a humanoid figure encased in ice. Frozen in time, its form is eerily preserved, making it impossible to tell if the being is dead or merely dormant. Before anyone can process the implications, Neela suddenly staggers, her nose bleeding profusely. She collapses as her skin begins to liquefy, her body breaking down in a grotesque, horrifying manner. Panic spreads as more crew members succumb to the same fate. An airborne pathogen has been released from the object, silently attacking them. The dwindling survivors retreat to a sealed room, their only line of defense against the invisible threat. Through security monitors, they keep watch over the lifeless alien. Grisham frantically attempts to establish contact with the outside world, but communications remain dead. As the group argues about their next course of action, the impossible happens. The alien's eyes snap open. By the time anyone checks the monitors again, the alien has vanished. A grim silence falls over the group before they agree on a risky plan. Equip themselves with the pilot's weapons and hunt the creature down. The search begins, their flashlights slicing through the darkness of the bay. Tony jumps at a sudden sensation on his back, only to realize it's just Kate. Meanwhile, Grisham moves cautiously, unaware of an unseen presence observing him from afar. When he turns, it retreats, but moments later, it shifts its focus to Tony. A shadow flickers in the periphery, and Tony lets out a sharp cry. Navigating through the maze of stacked crates, Julian hears an unusual sound and follows it, eventually finding himself face to face with the alien. Unlike what he expected, the being doesn't appear hostile. It seems frightened. Lowering his flashlight, Julian speaks in soothing tones, signaling that he means no harm. The alien hesitates, then extends its clawed fingers toward the flashlight, draining its energy. Then, in a delicate motion, it places both hands on Julian's head, transferring a strange energy into him. A cascade of visions floods Julian's mind. Wonders of the universe, forgotten civilizations, and celestial landscapes beyond human comprehension. The experience is breathtaking. But before the connection can deepen, the others arrive. Seeing the alien so close to Julian, Trout shouts for Tony to fire. A hit echoes through the chamber, striking the alien. From the wound, a blast erupts, sending Tony and Grisham crashing to the ground. When the light fades, the alien collapses, its body disintegrating into nothingness. Tony stammers an apology, claiming he thought the creature was attacking Julian. But Julian shakes his head, insisting the alien had shown no hostility. If anything, it had been afraid. Suddenly, an incoming transmission cuts through the static. The White House has found a break in the storm and makes contact with the base. Batchman's voice comes through, revealing what they already know. An extraterrestrial organism has been discovered, along with a deadly infection. Julian assures them that the pathogen has not spread beyond the base. Then, Bachman drops another sad news. The transmission detected from the object is identical to one received in 1947, linked to an unknown but lethal disease. The aliens immune to it have wiped out life on Mars before. Hearing that the alien is dead, the Secretary of Defense immediately makes a decision. There is only one way to eliminate the threat: destroy the base. Bachman is ordered to deceive the crew by promising a rescue team, but he refuses. Instead, he vaguely informs them that a Russian submarine is en route. Julian reads between the lines. "How much time do we have?" he asks. Bachman hesitates before answering. 3 hours. Tension escalates. Straub, now gripped by fear, insists on taking the plane and escaping before the storm worsens. Julian reminds him that if they are infected, leaving the base would unleash the virus on the rest of the world. But Straub argues that if they were truly infected, they'd already be dead. As the submarine inches closer, the scientists attempt to run blood tests to confirm their condition. However, Julian warns them, the pathogen may be microscopic, disguising itself within their cells. To Straub, this is just another excuse to keep them trapped. Tony takes his side, but when Kate refuses to support their plan, Straub's anger boils over. He lashes out, hurling insults at her before lunging to attack. Julian moves swiftly, delivering a sharp punch that knocks him to the floor. Suspecting the two might still try to escape, the others act fast, disarming Tony and reprogramming the facility's security locks. Meanwhile, inside the Russian submarine, preparations for a nuclear strike are underway. In precisely 18 minutes, the missiles will launch. As Kate and Julian finalize the last lock change, a hit rings through the corridors. Rushing to the mess hall, they find Grisham slumped against a table, a fork buried in his neck. Straub and Tony, now armed again, flee the scene. Another hit fires. This time, Kate is hit in the shoulder. Julian doesn't hesitate. He deduces their escape route, the underground drain system leading to the experimental cornfield. He bolts after them. By the time he arrives, it's too late. The crops, once thriving, wither and decay in their presence. The virus is real. Tony, horrified by the realization, decides to stay behind. But Straub refuses to be stopped. He stunts Tony with his weapon pointing at him before Julian interrupts, forcing Straub to fire his weapon. Tony collapses, lifeless. The pursuit continues. Straub charges into the underground pipes, with Julian close behind. Hits fly, but Julian dodges each one. Emerging from the pipes, they reach a spiraling staircase leading to an emergency hatch. As Straub bursts outside, he comes face to face with an inexplicable sight, An enormous vortex of energy hovers above the frozen wasteland. Julian follows, but is stopped by an invisible force field. He warns Straub to remain still, to breathe slowly. But Straub is panicked, gasping for air. His body trembles as the energy field tightens around him. His screams fade as his form begins disintegrating, piece by piece, until nothing remains. Julian, still frozen in place, experiences one final vision. The energy vortex is not a random phenomenon. It's a rescue ship sent to retrieve its lost passenger. But the alien is gone. The ship lingers, waiting. Realizing what must be done, Julian sprints back to the survivors, Kate, Jurek, and a young scientist. With urgency, he leads them outside. At first, they hesitate, but as they see the celestial vortex, understanding dawns upon them. One by one, they step forward. The alien craft engulfs them in light, lifting them away from the doomed facility. Moments later, the submarine fires its payload. A blinding blast erupts across the icy landscape, obliterating everything below. Hours later, the government crafts a cover story. The base was destroyed in a nuclear reactor malfunction. The fallen are honored as heroes. The truth is buried, but far beyond Earth's atmosphere, for souls drift into the unknown, destined for a fate no human has ever imagined. If you heard a signal that no one could explain, would you trace it back, or shut it down? Do you think the alien was truly peaceful, or just waiting for its kind to return? And now that 4 humans have left Earth with it, what kind of future do you think awaits them? Drop your theories in the comments. We want to know how you think the story really ends. And if you want more mind-bending sci-fi mysteries, don't forget to subscribe. The next signal might already be here.